Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Today is going to be kind of fun. I think I'm going to stray away from the Pour 15 for a little bit. I did pick up some more so we can finish that gas tank lid, but I want to work on things, well, under the hood right now. So I think we're going to do a test of some Cerakote. That's going to be a pretty good deal. So what I got here is Cerakote, and it is part number C189. It is a one-part C-Series coating. It is an air cure, and it is in the color of blue titanium. That is the color scheme that we're going to be going with for this truck. Is going to be a blue titanium look on all of the raw aluminum pieces. I am going to be ordering in a driver's side, cold side piping, because it still has the factory plastic one. And when that comes in, we'll pull off the intake elbow for that truck. So we're going to give this a shot here. And I'm pretty stoked. I don't know if you guys can see the color. But that's the color that's the color we're going to be shooting for, is like a blue. And there's the Cerakote C189. It is a one-part blue titanium C-Series air cure. So we're going to be spraying this out with one of our cheap guns on the hot side piping. And the cool thing with this type of coating, it is good up to 1600 degrees. So that under the engine bay gets pretty hot. The turbo pushes some pretty hot air from the compressor side. So we need to get that intercooler pipe off, sandblasted, and then we're going to get this guy coated. And it should look pretty awesome when we're done. But we need to let it hang for like an hour. Let it hang for like an hour so it'll be tack free, and then we can reinstall slowly, but it does take 5 days to fully cure. So small goal for today is going to be getting that charge pipe done. It needs to be cleaned up, the boots need to be cleaned up too, and once I have that off, I'll have a better look at where I could potentially have an oil leak. So let's jump over to the truck and start taking that charge pipe off, and I'll show you what I mean. So pretty simple, actually. If you guys have ever worked on anything with a turbo, it's just going to be 2 clamps and then we pull it out. So pretty easy. Whee! I need an extension. And just like that, there it is. See how crusty it looks? It's just so yucky. I'm gonna get this guy off, so we don't need it with the new coating. Let's get this guy cleaned up, and we'll get him sandblasted, washed off, degreased, pressure washed, sandblasted, and then we'll get it coated. Sound like a plan? Alright, we got this guy soaking in some degreaser. Get all this oil out of it, off of it. I don't have an oven, so I can't do a pre-bake, like a gas out. So that's not that big of a deal right now. The main deal here is going to be making sure it's clean to the best of its ability. And the other thing too is, before we put it back on the truck, we have to make sure it is completely dry. Or before we even Cerakote it, we need to make sure it is completely dry. So I'm gonna let that degreaser do its thing, and then I'll wash it off. And we'll get it dry and we'll put it in the blaster. Dudes, I am dragging today. I don't even want to do this, but I'm gonna. Let's see. I wonder how I can get this stuff off. Seems like it's kind of coming off, but not very fast. I think I'm going to take it out and hit it with some Scotch-Brite to try and get that piece off. See if we can try and get some Scotch-Brite, because it almost took it off with the sand, but this guy here, it's an old heat shield deal. So I think with a little bit of Scotch-Brite we can get that off, and then we'll finish blasting. Okay, here's the piece. It is fully sandblasted. Got that gunk off of it for the most part, as best I could. So that's how it's gonna look out of the blaster. And here's the part that you really want to pay attention to. You want to make sure that there's absolutely no water on there when you spray this stuff. And you want to shake this stuff pretty well. I'm just kind of using a throwaway gun for this. Not a super nice one, but enough to get the job done. I'm going to be spraying it out at 30 psi. Like I said, it is a one part. So you just pour it in the gun and you're ready to go. I'm going to mask off the area here where my bands sit, and then so there's no problem with it, you know, blowing boots and all that stuff. So I'm going to mask off those pieces so I don't get anything on the inside. And you want to make sure you thoroughly clean this. You make it as clean as it can be, especially when you go to reinstall it back on the truck. You want to make sure there's no sand in there at all. Alright, so I have my Harbor Freight Special, my little throwaway gun. So make sure you shake this up really well. All the solids will settle at the bottom, and you want to make sure that you have a good base to spray. Let's get some gloves on. Okay, so it is a little windy today, and this gun kind of sucks. It's dripping out of it all the way. Let's see what we can do with the time that we have, huh? See. We are having a problem. I know I did a subpar job spraying that. I had an oopsie with the gun. I had it all the way wide open instead of not. But that's the color. Blue titanium. Let me know what you think of that color. I kind of like it. Well, like I said, we had a problem. And that was I had the fluid all the way open for that spray. So that's kind of annoying. I do think I need to re-hit it though, but I need to let it tack up. In the meantime, I don't think I'm going to spray it again just because it has full coverage and it is such a small coating. It didn't want to stick at first, and I think the reason that was is because I was pushing too much fluid out of the gun. So once I backed it off, it went on perfectly, and it's super shiny and nice. The shininess will dull down a little bit once it dries up. But we need to let it dry for at least a couple hours so it can be tack free, and then we can carefully reinstall it. And then I also need to find out what other parts am I going to spray that with, because I like it. I actually really like that color. I didn't think I was going to as much as I do, so that's a good thing. But let's pop some gloves back on and let's clean this gun up. Alrighty, gun is clean. We're good on that front. Now we have to wait an hour or two. I hope the weather holds because it looks like it might be a little cloudy. You guys can see, just a little cloudy. But the hard part's done. Sandblasting's done. The painting's done. Now all we have to do is wait an hour, maybe two, for it to become tack free so you can handle it. This is fully cured in 5 days. So just be careful with it for 5 days. Let it sit out in the garage or something like that and let it just hang out. Because you don't want to scratch it. That would suck. But also you just don't want it to ruin the integrity of the coating. So make sure you handle it properly. Huge shout out to Cerakote. Their stuff is amazing. I'm not sponsored by them in any way, but I just like their product, so I use it. But I think that was a perfect color choice, and we'll show it here in just a second when we get it back on the truck. There's the color in all of its glory. I think that is the move. I think that is going to be looking good. And as you can tell, I've never sprayed it before. So I had a little mess up, so it is not perfect. But I guess better heavy than light. So, but that's really the only spot that's jacked up. And you won't even be able to see it. Not an excuse, just the truth. Yeah, you won't really even be able to see that because that's on the back side of the pipe for the turbo. So there's the color. I think everything in the engine bay is going to go that color. I like that. So I'm going to give this another half hour, finish tacking up. It's already been like an hour. Yeah, it's already been like an hour, hour and a half. So if we can get it to 2 hours. This leaves a lot of room for a lot of other things too to Cerakote. Obviously we can do the exhaust system, finish up the intake. I mean, we could pull the turbo, do the turbo, and do the actual intake manifold. Or not. Or we can just kind of do whatever we want to do. But the engine bay definitely looks a lot better with this in it. I think it looks good. I think that's a nice color. So I'll keep you updated on how it holds up. I think that's going to be a wrap for today's video. I appreciate everybody sticking around to the end watching this video. It means the world. And let me know down in the comments what you think of the Cerakote. I might be using it a lot. I like that color. So, alright everybody, well, I'm going to wrap it up right here. I'll catch you guys in the next video.